that should be going on in any and all of our churches on a daily basis, and that's what's going to turn our community around. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are going to have Pastor Michael McBride, the pastor of the Way Christian Center, executive director of BOCA, to come, as well as the co-president of the East Bay Lincoln Caravan, to come and take over the program at this point. What you are hearing is the commitment by some pastors to challenge our congregations to move out into the community, to move beyond just coming to worship, but taking our commitment beyond the walls of the church into the community, because until we can convey to the community our deep concern and care for that community will continue to be struggling in the way that it is already. Pastor Michael McBride.
Thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to just acknowledge, I see Councilmember Darrell Moore from Berkeley, District 2. Thank you for being here, and certainly want to acknowledge again Sandre Swanson's representative was here a little earlier, so we want to thank him for being here. Certainly Keith Carson, who convenes actually a monthly meeting of clergy and elected officials, which for me has been a very rewarding moment and space, because it really sets the model that I view as critical for elected officials and clergy to be able to work together, challenge one another, but get some work done. So I just want to say thank you for everybody that's here. Thank you for Ron Snyder and all our other PICO affiliates and organizers. If you are a PICO staff member, just please stand real quick so everybody can see who you are. We have some of our organizers here from San Francisco, Oakland, and Berkeley. So thank you all for being here on tonight. Certainly, so tonight's event is a kickoff for our significant training that we are doing tomorrow at Allen Temple Baptist Church. We believe that in order for us to really do the kind of work that is necessary, what's really in our hearts to do, it's going to take more than passion. It's going to take more than good intentions. It's going to take some skills that I believe many of us and many folks in our congregations don't presently have in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish. The fact of the matter is that many of us know how to have great church. And we know how to fill our buildings up with great church. We know how to put churches on every corner, regardless of where our environment is. But regardless of the presence of our congregations, many of us know how to be great politicians and do all kind of things and get people to vote for us. But regardless of all those actions, we have not done an effective job of reducing violence in our communities. And I think that it's a moment in time where we are all being challenged to try and think about these problems differently and not try to utilize old strategies for very new and nuanced problems. PolicyLink, an organization here in Oakland, has this wonderful saying called lifting up what works. And it flows, I believe, within the parameters of what all of our PICO affiliates do. PICO stands for People Improving Communities Through Organizing. We are an international now, not faith-based, congregation-based organization. We have, let me see, 50 affiliates in 17 states representing over 1 million families. All right, I got it right for once. I want a bonus. Y'all pass that around, somebody. Why is that important? It's important because part of our PICO network strategy of dealing with these issues, we believe it rests in ordinary people. We believe that we have a process where we depend on the power of our relationships in neighborhoods, in networks, in congregations. We bring our collective power together and we do research and we find solutions that can get us the kind of outcomes that we want, and then we advocate vigorously for those solutions to be brought to scale in our neighborhoods. And part of what we've been doing is utilizing some of the strategies that came out of the Boston Miracle, been known in other communities as ceasefire. And as faith-based organizations, we believe that we cannot just focus on the negative. Ceasefire and some of these strategies, while they bring out certain outcomes, we believe that it's not just enough to reduce gun violence. That's, at the end of the day, a very low barometer. a low outcome. We want our communities to thrive. We want our young people to win. We want our young men to stay out of jail. We want our young women to have lifestyles and options that are characteristic of many other communities across the country that aren't in urban neighborhoods. So part of what we want to do as PICO, as OCO, as BOCA, as SFOP and CORE and other regional organizations, we want to begin to take the focus off of ceasefire as it pertains to just gun violence and start to bring our faith sensibilities into the conversation and start to focus on healing strategies. And to be healed means that you get to get some putting back together again, if you will. Because I was told when I was young that hurting people hurt other people. So, you know, certainly we don't want the youngsters to be shooting each other. So we're going to start there. But at the end of the day, we want our young people to be healed. And who else is better to carry the message of healing, supposedly, than our faith congregations? But the reality is many of us are scared of our young people. We're scared to go bring the healing to them. So part of what we're hoping to do is begin to train our clergy, our pastors, our community leaders, our congregation members on strategies that can help influence policy so we can have strategies that drive healing as well. To that end, I'm excited to bring up our keynote speaker for tonight, who's going to talk to us for about 15 minutes or so from his heart, just around some of the work he's been doing, and open up at the end for some question and answer period where I believe will be a phenomenal opportunity for us to get some collective learning. But Dr. Joseph Marshall is a world-renowned, he calls himself a clinician of violence. He's been invited in communities and countries all over the world to teach strategies that reduce violence and initiate healing. He has this model. When myself and Brother Stephen Leeper, an organizer in SFOP, we went and met with him, and we were there for 2 or 3 hours. I missed a whole nother meeting because he was talking so good. If you talk to him long enough, he'll tell you that his grandmother tried to make him a preacher, but he said he had another calling. But he has a very interesting way of framing a response that I believe could very much inform some of our next steps. And I'm going to certainly invite him to come and share with us some of his life lessons, some of his reflections. He is the founder and executive director of the Omega Boys Club in the Potrero Hill neighborhood of San Francisco. He has received so many awards. We cannot name them all, but he's received awards that range from the White House all the way to the outhouse. So you can fill in all the blanks. He's been honored by everybody that all of us might dream to be honored by, and that includes presidents, and that includes his own people. And for that, I consider him to be a wonderful living legend. Growing up in San Francisco in the Bayview neighborhood, I can remember a lot of my partners hanging out with Joseph Marshall, and for him to still be alive and for us to be able to be in partnership with him today is a phenomenal privilege. So I'm going to ask you to give him a great welcome as he comes and shares a little bit. We invite you to begin to write down some questions that you might have, because Brother Marshall is very interested, he told me, in the question and answer period. He says that that's where the best action will happen. Many of you might hear him on the Street Soldiers program on KMEL every Sunday night. So he's used to rapid fire, and we're going to get a chance to have some engagement over the next 30, 45 minutes or so. Please welcome again Dr. Joseph Marshall.